this and log in on one of the many platforms that I am currently streaming to to make sure that you can not only see me but hear me because this is the next part in the remote sniper code along, I guess you can call it that. Okay, it does say that I'm live. Let me make sure you can hear me. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I am going to be sharing with you the next phase of Remote Sniper. So, if you don't know what that is or who I am, hello, my name is Cassandra. I am a software developer, I'm a workshopper, I'm an entrepreneur. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the next phase in Remote Sniper. Now, Remote Sniper is an app that I just wanted to do to kind of like test my skills and keep my skills sharp and things like that while I was looking for a job. Now that I found my next role, I actually have time to pick it back up. So I wanted to start doing that and share along with you the journey. If you're interested in participating in this, let me know. I have a running list of people who have said, hey, I would be interested in helping to see this to fruition. So it is an open source project. If you want to learn more, definitely reach out if I don't mention it or show it somewhere above this video, whatever the case may be. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. So actually, before I share my screen, let me actually explain what you're about to see. So in the work that I do as a developer advocate, part of my role is to kind of help processes become better, help junior developers kind of grow in their skill sets, help create, or rather co-create best practices and things like that. And so this was part of my journey to get kind of familiar with some old processes and see what else I can do to kind of make the process a lot more collaborative. Now, this in particular, it was meant for more of a solo thing, but I had people speaking up, and so that's why I'm making this more public. So what you're about to see is what's called a Miro board. Miro is a fantastic tool that basically is a digital whiteboard. And what you're going to see on it are some of the feedback and brainstorming topics and things people have asked for from an app like this. Now, this app was meant to be a not a resume builder, not a job finder, but like a way for a better connection between the job seekers and recruiters or hiring managers. Yes, there are plenty of sites out there like LinkedIn and you know so many other places, but they have their own opportunities for growth. And I wanted to find a way to make things easier to find the right things and not be bombarded. Like one of the things that I saw a lot from people who are looking for what I was kind of trying to create here was that there were so many um, applica- job opportunities that were duplicated on multiple platforms. So, having one place of being able to see, this one came from LinkedIn or this one's across three different ones, right? That kind of thing seemed like it would be beneficial. So I asked on LinkedIn, I asked in Facebook, I asked in groups. I did a lot of, maybe not a lot, but I did some product management type work and found out, hey, what is it that you might like to see in an app like this? And so what you're going to be seeing right about now. Oh, this is not the way that I thought it was going to show up. There, that's fine. No, that's not fine. We'll go with that. So what you see on the screen here, the blue box right here is a couple of URLs on my blog that might give you some more information. So the first one, how to think like a software engineer. This is a culmination of a live presentation that I gave at Cisco Live LATAM on how to think like a programmer. Just some basic steps and like some, well, whatever. You can go check it out and learn more. And then the find a job portion. That one is just some cool sites that I found, some additional tips and tricks that I'd been using on my journey for getting just like a step in the door, right? Foot in the door. So just some tips if you'd be interested in that. Now behind it, you'll see a board, a Miro board. So this right here, the hashtag remote sniper, that is the hashtag that I'm using to share this journey. So if you want to find more posts on like that, you'll find that on those different apps, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. The yellow part here is basically the steps that I are like the general steps that I follow on every new program that I work on. First one is brainstorm and crowdsource. right? Basically, that means what is it that you're wanting to do? What is it want to accomplish? If you could have the perfect app, what does that look like? Um, so then group and analyze, which is what we're going to be doing today, or at least grouping, because I'm going to try and keep this short and kind of give you ideas, not necessarily the whole process. Prioritization, because as you'll see here, we'll have requirements, nice to haves, and opportunities for growth. Confirm it, right? Make sure that that's what you want to accomplish next, and then determine next steps. So those are the steps. And the process here is, hey, we just had a brainstorming session. We've just met with the different um, key stakeholders of this project, and here is the list of things that they're wanting to accomplish. So what what you would do once you had all those ideas, that brainstorming session completed, is you would put them in their different correlating areas: requirements, nice to haves, and opportunities for growth. Requirements are basically that these things have to be there. That is going to be part of definition of done, right? Now in an agile process, you're not doing all of it at once. You are constantly providing pieces that are working, that accomplish the end goal. So those are requirements. Nice to haves, those are things that you want to be cognizant of, right? Maybe you as you're building things, you plan for how that's going to integrate with those other pieces, but you're not actually building those yet. So that's the nice to haves, right? The things that aren't necessarily the bottom line, but might make the user experience better, or might make your log gathering better. I don't know, whatever that might be, nice to haves. Your opportunities for growth, those are things that you either definitely want to do, or maybe want to do, but you are need some growth in it. Like maybe part one of the things for this is that we want to be able to pull in job postings from multiple places. Well, we have to have their API. We have to know how to interact with each of those APIs. We have to be able to like be able to mark which ones come from what sites, those kinds of things. So that's going to be opportunities for growth, because at least I myself do not yet know how to integrate with those different pieces of software. So those are the three different columns. From here, you would take these pieces and usually pretty quick. So I'm going to zoom in just a bit so you guys can see what this looks like. Which resume to submit, ATS versus humans. This was a request. This is meant for someone who is like, hey, which one do I submit to a particular job posting? The intention behind this particular one is to actually facilitate that for you, right? So that the job poster can say, hey, we need ATS or whatever. So this is more of a nice to have. So we're going to put that in the nice to have column. Temp or remote. So this question came from someone who said, "Hey, some places don't actually. I guess it's still going to be small. Some places don't actually give an accurate depiction of what they want remote versus not. So knowing that they're looking to have 20% remote or 50% remote. Now the intention behind this originally was 100% remote roles. That's it. That's all. But there might be people who are okay with hybrid, but having that like front and understood would be helpful and ethical, honestly. So when and how often, location for in office, that's another piece. So that actually probably should have its own little sticky note. Um, Actually, we're going to add that anyway. Well, I'll add it, make it as a note. So why do I do this to myself? All right. So where is office location? So office location. Now there are some job roles that they don't want to tell you where for any number of reasons. So office location is more of a nice to have, because not all people who are posting jobs are going to give that. They want to make sure that first of all that you are who they're looking for, and then they'll introduce you to the actual people, like recruiter companies. So temporary, temp or remote. So that's a requirement. Is this something that is, you know, temporarily remote or not? Flexibility of working hours. This is definitely a requirement, but it depends on the type of requirement. So flexibility of working hours, that's kind of vague. I believe that there's a couple other pieces that go with this, but this basically means, hey, I'm going to post my preferred time zones, right? Because we are a global economy. We've people are working across the globe. So how flexible are they? Do they have to have this particular set of hours, or can it be like whatever? So having that option would be helpful. So I guess it would be nice to have. Required travel percent. While it is a nice to have, I kind of see it more as a requirement because some places do require travel. So having that option was is good. Expectations for attending company events in person. So it's putting in a nice to have because again, this is not something that recruiters may be providing at that time. Elimination of repeat postings. This was a requirement. Like it has to be there so that people can know that this same position, maybe it's same title, same company, different websites, maybe it's a different description, right? Having that option to be able to um, easily sort through that information. So elimination of repeat postings, you'll see that there's more comments here. And there was a concern for reposts of closed positions, which again, not something we can really um, do much for, but it is something to consider. Flexible versus core business hours, that's part of flexibility of working hours. So I would bring that to this as like one item. So you're kind of like matching up not just to the sections of requirements versus nice to haves, but also, hey, do these ideas are they similar? Are they the same concept? Main working time zone. This is also another benefit. But I would say nice to haves, very similar to business hours, with flexible versus core business hours, but knowing where the person's team that they're going to be hiring with, where they're mostly based out of, would be helpful. It's nice to have. Ability to show preferable slash unavailable working hours. So again, flexibility of working hours. So I'll put that right there. Accountability from recruiter slash company. Um, I actually have this as a requirement for this particular one because it's part of what I see with this app is that job seekers will be able to say, hey, this particular job thing that I found or that I found here, whatever, they led me on. Maybe they say it's remote, but it's really not. So this would also have a way to rate that particular company or recruiter who is on that website. Now, this also does kind of, I actually need to add this. This goes into GDPR territory. If you don't know what GDPR is, it's a term that I used when I was teaching social media marketing. And GDPR, I don't remember exactly what it stands for anymore, but basically it's about security, your data privacy rather. And so those are things that need to be considered and they're going to be in requirements because if somebody says, hey, I want you to remove all my information, well, you will have to do that. So that's something to consider about how you'll hold people accountable in something like this. So GDPR is on there. Recourse if posted remote but isn't. So what kind of recourse? So in that instance, unless somebody deletes their data, the recourse could be, hey, these users of this website give this person a 1 out of some type of rating system so people can see that this recruiter or this company are doing good by their hiring practices, right? So this is something that it has been considered and is going to be an interesting thing to again overcome with GDPR, but um, it was something that many people asked for as well. If expecting someone to move to new location for work. So I put this in as a nice tab because this is again is going to be an option that only the recruiters or possibly any AI that might find in the description of the job that might consider. But again, it's going to be difficult to quantify. I think that's the right word. But it is still something to have in the nice to have. Recourse for fake postings. So how are we going to do that? Again, that's kind of part of the recourse for remote, but isn't. Um, it's very difficult to know what is a fake posting, right? So another one that we have, let me go ahead and just kind of get these a little closer together. Okay. Filters for a 4-day work week. So that way you can find jobs that are, have a nice 4-day work week option. A filter for experience level. I feel like this should also, there's having this as some way to like tie in a job posting with descriptions and quality, not quality, skill skill experience skill experience. um, I'm putting that in requirements because that way it might help someone be able to better find a fit for them. So for example, if from the problem description is able to pull requirements being AWS and such and so, then maybe there was some type of weighted system that would say, oh, you match these three skills, even though you feel like you're 50% proficient in it, then you should really go for it anyway. I don't know, something like that. That's going to be something I might ask my data science buddies. But a filter for experience level, so being able to filter roles that are looking for particular types of experience. Transparency and benefits. So that's something that again would be a nice to have. I'm not really sure like how that might work. Maybe it might even be for opportunity for growth because that is something that I don't think companies are going to want to give just like publicly. Now, maybe, right, as I was going through and going through the job search process, there were companies that had their benefits publicly available. So that was pretty cool. So maybe, but it's definitely an opportunity for growth. And so it's going to be really nice to have section. Testing requirement. It's required. Testing, automated testing should always be part of your plan, period. End of story. If you don't know how to do it, learn at least the basics and start practicing because it will be helpful, I promise. Documentation requirement, right? I've been planning on having this be a open source project, so documentation is super important. Filter for requirements, like what's required of the job. Yes, that's going to be a requirement of that. So I guess XP level might be more of a nice to have because your feeling of experience is subjective, and too often people who are looking to hire people for roles um, may say, "Oh, you must have 5 years of experience for an entry level, blah blah blah." Right? So we'll just leave it at that. Another filter, remote based on location. So I am going to say that that is a requirement. Once again, there are people who have had the experience of being told that they have to be remote, and then they have to be like, oh, a driving distance because you're going to have to come in once a week or from a social or whatever. But so being able to filter by where the is located, we'll need that way to filter on similar job titles. I have this as a nice to have because, um, well, I guess actually it should be a requirement because that's going to make it easier for the user to find jobs in what they're looking to have done. I think that's supposed to be transparency where in the process. So this might be a HR nightmare. So it's probably not gonna happen, but we're gonna put it nice to have. Ottawa, this is an app I've found out that is very similar to what I'm trying to accomplish. So Ottawa is moving over into opportunities for growth to learn from and see maybe how to do better. Maybe I don't know. So we are down to 10 job posts for specific job titles. This would be more information, so I'm gonna have to go back to whoever asked for that and get more information. But also, if you're interested in joining this, whether it's for ideation or you're a UX person or whatever, let me know. This is going to be open source, and if enough people are interested, I'll just start a Discord and we can figure it out together. Okay, transparency, transparent salary ranges requirement, fee to keep listed. So this is supposed to be open source, and while yes, this is a great opportunity to earn money, I don't know if or when that ever will happen. Maybe. So we're gonna leave it on nice to haves because that's definitely gonna need some research. I'm actually gonna put that more in opportunities for growth to see how to have that happen. Experience level versus number of years. So that's kind of part of this filter right here. True requirements versus nice to haves. What is this about? Oh, Oh, yeah, that's an opportunity for growth because when people have a job that they're trying to fill, um, oftentimes what they're putting out is their wish list. And if you meet everything on there, it might not be the role for you because it might not be an opportunity for you to grow in your own career. Um, but that being said, it's their wish list, right? And so, which ones are truly requirements and which ones are nice to have? That's would have to have a more um, intimate relation not intimate, that's not the word I'm looking for. I mean, yes, intimate, but like direct a direct connection with people at at specific companies to actually have conversations about what they're looking for, and I just don't see that happening. But it's still a great idea, so it's still not it's not going to be like removed from the board. It's just an opportunity for growth to learn more about how we might be able to do that, and kind of hard to say, right? Unless like we build the app where when people are creating their job description, they can click on the things that are must haves, nice to haves, and you know, golden snitches or whatever. Okay, build a community. This was a request because people were like, hey, I'm so sick and tired of just these job boards, but I want to actually connect with people. Um, it's a nice to have, and it's kind of low on my priority list, mostly because there's just so many other community opportunities out there. I mean, LinkedIn, there's community on there. Facebook, but I mean, Facebook is more meant for like connection. It's not meant for for that kind of thing. Even YouTube has kind of like a community of some sorts. So like build a community in what way? So that's why it's there. Notification, provide feedback once hired and 3 months later. This is a nice to have because this is more for us, the people who are making this website, this app, to kind of be able to improve how the process is and how it affects you. Um, let's see. Contact info of poster. This is also, I can't really say it's a requirement because then we're getting into GDPR. Um, Also, the people who are posting maybe not are open to being contacted, which if you are a recruiter, I don't know why that would be the case. But again, something to consider mostly because of GDPR. No job listed for more than 30 days. This is, we can have this as a requirement, right? We can maybe make it like be some type of notification of, hey, this job is still open. It was found on these sites on this date and time and blah, blah, blah. We can like try and have like some kind of way of doing that, but we'll see. We'll see. Time limit of posting to stay alive for 3 weeks. That's kind of like the job listed no more than 30 days. So time limit, we'll have to see about what that like really looks at because that to me also indicates that we're doing an active like pull of the APIs, and I'm not quite sure how that'll work. Again, that's the opportunity for growth section, which actually there's not even these on here yet. So um, different job board APIs. So that's in the opportunities for growth because I don't know how to do that yet. So if you know and you want to participate, let me know. We'll talk. Flag for crazy salary range. I think that's a nice to have because what somebody might think is a crazy salary range, others may not. Now, I have seen things for like Netflix, some type of developer. It was like, let's just say it was more than $300,000. And while I have seen those kind of numbers, I've only seen those kind of numbers in sales and crazy news stories about Meta. So, oh, and then of course Netflix, like I just said, but like I don't know if they're true, and it may be true, but on the same token, we can still add a flag of like, hey, they're trying to say like anywhere from 60K to like 600K. Yeah, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird, especially if it's for the same role. To me, that says that they're like just having a massive general hire, and they're too lazy to do something about getting other job things open. So I'm putting in nice to have. It's a great idea, but again, you have to figure out what's a requirement. What do we have to get like going initially, and keep in mind the other things that you might want to accomplish later for market research. Okay, so show how job posting was provided. So that is part of the API polls, making sure we're not having duplicates. Repeat posting, so that's kind of the same thing, sort of, but it's going up their requirements. Ability to provide feedback, requirement, because if you are creating a product that someone is having a problem with, maybe they have a bug, maybe something just could be done better, and you don't provide the outlet for them to say, hey, you're doing this thing and it'd be so much easier if you did XYZ, then you are your bottom line is not well, depending upon what your bottom line should be providing a solution to customers' needs and doing it in a way that delights them and wants them to keep coming back, right? So you need to have a way to provide feedback, so that needs to be in there. And then, of course, for being interviewed with no intention of moving forward. Again, I'm going to say it's nice to have, mostly because, hey, how do you even know that there's no intention of moving forward? Do they just not? Do they ghost you? I mean, that happens to me all the time. And if you look at um, recruiters on LinkedIn, you'll see that they have some people have the reasons for that. Anyway, that's it, right? So once you do this, then you'll go into analyzing it. You'll go to the different topics and see, hey, okay, so now that we have these requirements, or rather these options, what are the other things we need to consider? So, for example, um, fee to keep listed. If that was something that was actually a requirement, if we, if myself and whoever wants to work on this wanted to have a way to earn money, we'd have to or learn more about the fee. So if you keep listed, well, how are we going to incorporate that? Are we going to incorporate PayPal, Stripe? Like, what does it look like? What does the pay page look like? How are we like those are other things to consider. And so I would go through and whatever it is that we're definitely working on, which would be requirements, we would then go through and discuss, what that looks like, if there's things that are missing, if there's skill sets that are missing, if there's tools that are missing, like whatever, go through and talk about them and then prioritize based on how long we think they're going to work, right? So you're working through like story points which hey, I think this is going to take a day, 3 days, a week, 4 weeks, whatever. You figure out how long that will take, and then you prioritize based on what are your need to haves, business requirements, etc. So this is all part of the requirements gathering phase that you see when you go to that website I was telling you about before, the how to think like a software engineer. So this was it. This was the board that I was working on, and so now that we have these requirements, nice to have, um, I will be reaching out to some people again and maybe seeing, hey, do you guys want to keep working on this? Like, how do you want to look at this? And I'll be sharing my journey about what I participated on this, as I'm building the database, as I'm building the front end. And I have a lot of different things that I like to work on. So maybe I'll share something else another time. So if this was interesting to you, please do share. Let me know, like, what kind of projects you're working on, or if you're interested in participating in this, or uh, there are plenty of volunteer opportunities that help with civic needs, right? I've heard of a couple, at least in America, civic needs where you can help with zoning issues and so much more. So, hope that was helpful. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful and prosperous rest of your day. And if you'd like to learn more about how to work with me, please contact me over on LinkedIn, which it's like linked. I forgot to add it up here. I don't know if I have it ready or not. I don't. Just LinkedIn / KKEETODIN. So, oh, actually, oh, is it? No, it's not. That's okay. Anyway, thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful and prosperous rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.